Welcome back to another episode. On today's episode, we're going to talk about week 3 of the spring training and which players stood out. A little bit less action than most weeks. Had a rain out, had another off day, had the spring breakout game get rained out. So a little disappointing there. It does feel a little bit like MLB is waving their middle finger at both the fans and the prospects for the teams that got rained out. For the fans, because the whole point of this seemed to be to kind of drum up fan excitement for the next generation of players. And then for the players, because, this might have been the only opportunity for a lot of those guys to showcase themselves this season. There is the possibility of the futures game for some of the top guys, but, a lot of those players, this probably was the one chance to play in front of a broader audience for this season. So kind of disappointed for those guys as well. But alas, we'll move on. We're going to start off just like past episodes with the position players, and we'll move on to the pitchers, just a few pitchers, because quite frankly, the Giants pitching kind of got lit up this week. So not a ton of excitement there, but we'll get going. First guy is going to be Tyler Fitzgerald. Had a nice 4-for-9 week, double, triple, 2 walks, and a stolen base. It's his third stolen base of the spring. It seems like he's kind of got a full grasp on that utility job as of right now, and is the heavy favorite for that, which makes sense. His versatility and his ability to play second, third, short, and center field even. He might be the second best defensive center fielder on the roster, on the active roster. And then also, I'd imagine they're going to probably work him a little bit in the corners because he could potentially, I could see him being able to play the corners as well. I mean, if you can play center, you better be able to play left and right. So makes a ton of sense. His speed is something that this team desperately needs. I know we've talked in previous episodes how I think he could be kind of a Chris Taylor type player. So he's going to probably have the opportunity to show that from day one coming on the opening day roster. So good week from him. Next person is going to be Matt Chapman, who settled in, went 4-for-11 with an opposite field home run yesterday, a double and a walk. A lot of times you see the oppo home runs and you out of a right-hander and you think, hey, it probably wouldn't have left the yard in Oracle Park, but he's hitting opposite field home run in Oracle Park. He's got some pretty good pop doll field. So it was good to see. He's looking good. Also made some really nice defensive plays, as he does all the time, because he's really good defensively. So next guy is going to be Nick Ahmed. Had another good week, 5-for-10, home run and a double. Or I'm sorry, home run and a triple. The triple probably is a home run in every ballpark, every major league ballpark, I should say, in the country, because he hit it off the wall that is 430 feet from home plate. I don't think any ballparks go that deep in the majors, at least, but it was a poke, and he hustled around and got a triple out of it, but it probably would have been a home run anywhere. He's the heavy favorite for the starting shortstop position. I don't want to say it's locked up, but it's pretty close to locked up. But Luciano has been at least trending the right direction. Now, the numbers aren't going to jump out at you. His first 20 plate appearances, he was 1-for-14 with 10 strikeouts. Nice thing with him, he is a notoriously slow starter, as we've discussed previously, and for those that have followed him pretty closely and how he's done in his professional career. Since then, he's had 13 plate appearances, and he's 2-for-9, 3 walks, sac fly, and only 2 strikeouts. So he is trending the right direction. He's putting the ball in play. The strikeout percentage is going down. Hopefully he gets going soon. He's probably going to start in sac, but the nice thing is that Nick Ahmed, as hot as he is in spring training, he's got a massive track record of not being a great offensive player. And the reality is, if Luciano in 2 months is just kicking the door down, Nick Ahmed's not going to hold him off. They're going to just make the move. So it's good to see Luciano putting together some good, he's putting together better at bats. So another guy that had a really good week, David VR, 7-for-14, 3 home runs, a double, and a walk. He's very likely going to be in Sacramento, if not getting moved at some point. Doesn't really have a place on the roster, but good for him. He had a huge week, so I wanted to give him a shout out. Next guy is going to be Joey Bart. Not trying to push any kind of narrative, but Joey Bart is 4-for-9. Also got hit by a pitch. He's been also threw out essentially 2 runners in that in the game that got rained out against Oakland. Um, did get one guy. The second guy was nailed, but Luciano dropped the throw. So he has looked consistently better behind the plate than Murphy and is actually hitting pretty decently. But they're going to have an interesting decision to make with him because one thing to keep in mind is the catching depth for the Giants, especially on the 40 man, is not good. Right now, you have essentially Patrick Bailey and Tom Murphy. And then behind them, you have Joey Bart, but he's out of options. So he's going to get probably DFA'd and be off the roster. And the only 2 guys you really, there's a few down in AAA, but you have Jackson Reitz, who doesn't look like a major leaguer. You have Cooper Hummel, who's a converted outfielder, and Sable, who's currently injured, but we all saw him behind the plate, and it wasn't pretty. So there's an argument to try and keep him around, but the reality is if Bailey's healthy, they're not going to do that. So luckily, Bailey did kind of dodge a bullet. He took that foul ball off the hand. Doesn't appear to be major, so he'll be back. But it's just their lack of catching depth is something to keep an eye on. Next player that had a good week, Tyro Strada, 4 for 13, a home run and a double. He had a good, solid week. He's kind of rounding into form. No surprise there, though. He's a solid player. Now, kind of moving on to the pitching side of things. As I said, their pitching gave up a ton of runs this week. They gave up, I think, 11 to Kansas City, 19 to Cincinnati, and they kind of got beat up a little bit. Dodgers only gave up 6 to the Dodgers, but kind of a rough week for their pitching. But a couple guys that stood out, Dalton Jeffries and Spencer Howard. They both started yesterday in the split squad action. Both guys looked really good. Both guys seem to be pretty much a lock to be in, like, on the active roster in some capacity. Mason Black has got Bob Melvin mentioned that he's essentially the 4th guy right now because there's those 2 open spots at the back end. Jeffries and Howard, I could easily see one of those guys getting one and one being a bulk guy, or them both being in the pen. Alex Cobb just threw 27 pitches in a minor league game, and Keaton Wynn just pitched today through an inning and 2/3. But I don't know how built up those guys are going to be. Cobb's probably not going to be back till late April. Wynn, I don't know if they're going to try and put him in sack to build up, or if they're going to try and get him on the roster. I'm not convinced he's going to be able to give you 4 or 5 innings by the time the season starts in 2 weeks, but we'll see from there. But Dalton Jeffries this last week, 7 innings pitched, no earned runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts through 4 innings yesterday. Spencer Howard, 6 2/3 innings this week, 0 earned runs, 2 hits, 3 walks, 4 Ks, also through 4 innings yesterday. So they're stretching out a little bit, and we'll see kind of what comes of that. Last guy I wanted to bring up, he did get touched up a little bit yesterday, made an error throwing one a little wide to Bart on a play at the plate, but overall this spring has been really done a really good job. And that's Juan Sanchez, who seems to be pitching his way into the last left-handed spot in the bullpen that, it seems to be wide open right now. Ethan Small looked like the early favorite for that, has a pulled oblique that is going to be, or strained oblique that's going to take 3 or 4 weeks to heal. So he's probably not going to be back till at least a few weeks into the season. Amir Garrett has basically pitched his way out of consideration from the early going. And Juan Sanchez has been kind of the best of all of them. He's got a 2.35 ERA in 7 2/3 innings. He's given up just 2 earned runs there, and he's got a 0.78 WHIP. So he's been really effective. So I think he's going to be the favorite. I just wanted to kind of get his name out there. Eric Miller, maybe another option, though he already got optioned to minor league camp. At that point, it's probably unlikely, but you just never know with Farhan. He might pull him back over if he's looking really good over there. So we'll see kind of what comes of that. But that's all I've got for players that stood out this week. As always, if you like the material and the content, like the channel, or like the video, subscribe to the channel. Click the bell if you want to be notified of videos. I've just hit 300 subscribers a couple days ago. It's awesome. I appreciate all the support I'm getting from all of you guys. You guys have been giving me such great feedback, and there's a lot of things I'm working on to try and improve the channel and improve the experience for everybody. So we're going to just keep working on that stuff. The main thing I'm working on is changing up the background, but that'll probably at least be a few weeks. We're still working on some stuff in this office. So appreciate all you guys. If you have anything you want me to discuss or any topics you want me to go over, definitely drop comments in the if you have a video in mind that you want to see or you want a topic you want me to cover, for sure put that down there. I'll do my best to put something out for you. So appreciate all you guys. Have a good one, and we will talk to you soon.